Have you ever stood in front of your closet and thought, none of this feels like me anymore? Not because you've changed sizes, but because something deeper in you has shifted. That quiet nudge inside that says, I've lived too much to dress like I'm disappearing. This video isn't about fashion trends. It's about how the way you dress can gently reflect the woman you've become. Strong, soft, wise, and still becoming. We'll walk through 12 style shifts that aren't about looking younger. They're about honoring where you are and who you are now. I remember visiting my friend Elaine, 73, on a rainy Thursday afternoon. She opened the door wearing a soft gray cardigan, pearl earrings, and a pair of deep red ballet flats. I smiled and said, "You look lovely." And she laughed, that soft, knowing laugh, and said, I dress up for the woman I promised myself I'd become, not for the mirror, not for anyone else. That moment stayed with me because there's something powerful about a woman who still chooses beauty, not for attention, but for remembrance, for presence, for self-respect. So if you're someone who still wants to feel radiant when you reach for your scarf, if you're ready to rediscover joy in how you show up, this story is for you. 1. Style isn't about age, it's about energy. Some women fear that aging means fading, like they're expected to become invisible once their hair turns silver or their skin softens. But style, real style, was never about staying young. It's about staying alive inside. The energy you carry, how you move through a room, how you choose a scarf in the morning, how your eyes light up when you talk about your garden, that's your true elegance. Not the size of your dress, not the trend of the season. I remember my sister-in-law, Margaret. She's 68 now. She doesn't wear anything fancy, mostly cardigans, long skirts, soft cotton blouses. But when she walks into a Sunday brunch with her bright coral lipstick and that twinkle in her eye, people turn. Not because she's trying to look younger, but because she walks like she still belongs, fully, to this world. And maybe that's what many of us quietly hope for, to still feel seen, to still feel like the mirror reflects not just age, but spirit. We want to feel like we matter, not because we dress up for others, but because we remember how to dress up for ourselves. We don't style ourselves to impress. We do it to remember who we still are. And sometimes, all it takes is one gentle shift, one color that lifts your mood, one pair of shoes that lets you walk further, one outfit that says, I'm still becoming. Let's explore that next. 2. Keep what still feels like you. There comes a quiet season in a woman's life when she stands before her closet not to impress the world, but to ask, what still feels like me? Not what still fits, not what's still in style, but what still carries your shape, your warmth, your stories. We're often told to declutter, to toss what's old, to simplify until our wardrobe becomes a museum of beige and basics. But sometimes, in that well-worn sweater with the elbow patches or the silk scarf tucked away since your daughter's wedding, there's a whisper of who you once were and still are. I remember my neighbor Joan. She's 74. One day she invited me over for tea. Her home was modest, peaceful, like her, and her closet was, well, a bit chaotic. But in the middle of it hung a dress, navy blue, soft lace, slightly faded. I asked her about it. She smiled and said, "That's the dress I wore the day I told my late husband I was pregnant with our son. I haven't worn it in years, but I take it out sometimes, just to remind myself that I was brave once." That stayed with me, because Joan didn't keep the dress for fashion. She kept it for memory, for the version of herself that still needed to be honored. And maybe that's something many women quietly fear, that as life moves on, parts of us get left behind in drawers, in closets, in boxes. But what if, instead of throwing it all away, we learn to keep only what still brings us back to ourselves? We don't declutter to throw things away. We do it to keep only what gives back to our soul. And just like clothes, our colors change too. The ones we once wore with certainty may no longer speak to us, but others are waiting to be discovered in softer tones, deeper shades, or bolder joy. Let's talk about that next. 3. The power of fabric that feels like home. There's something quietly sacred about fabric that loves you back. As we grow older, our skin softens, and so should what we wear. The harsh, the stiff, the scratchy, they no longer belong. What we crave now is comfort that feels earned, a sweater that holds your shape without squeezing it, a scarf that warms you like a memory, a cotton nightgown that breathes with you through the silence of 2 a.m. It's not about price, it's about presence, texture, intention. My cousin Ruth, 71, always reaches for her old cashmere shawl when she's reading by the window. She told me once, it feels like kindness. Not fashion, not flair, just kindness. Against the shoulders that have carried decades of children, groceries, losses, and laughter. So many women were taught to wear what looks good to others, to impress, to fit in, to dress our age. But now, maybe this season of life invites us to dress for what feels right on the inside. To choose fabrics not for how they look on the hanger, but how they rest on our soul. Because beneath it all, there's a quiet longing to be held, not always by someone else, but sometimes by the clothes we trust. We don't dress for the mirror, we dress for the moments we want to feel safe in. And that softness, that sense of home in what we wear, becomes even more powerful when paired with color. Not loud or flashy, but chosen. Let's explore that next. 4. Let color whisper, not shout. There's a quiet kind of confidence that comes from choosing colors that speak, not scream. In our younger years, we might have chased bold reds or bright florals to catch eyes, prove something, feel seen. But now, color takes on a gentler meaning. It becomes less about attention and more about emotion. Soft lavender that calms your breath, deep olive that grounds you, a splash of rose that makes your cheeks feel just a little warmer. These aren't just shades, they're moods, memories, quiet nudges that remind you who you are beneath all the busy. I think of Mary, a retired librarian I met at a community center in Vermont. Every Tuesday, she wore the same pale blue cardigan. When I asked her why, she said, "It's the color of the sky the morning I decided I'd be okay on my own." That blue wasn't a fashion choice. It was a silent promise she made to herself, to keep showing up. And that's the thing many women over 60 wrestle with, often silently, the fear that color no longer belongs to them, that they have to fade into neutrals, disappear into beige. But color doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. It can whisper softly and still carry strength. We don't wear color to be seen. We wear it to feel something, again. And when those colors meet thoughtful layers, not just for warmth, but for depth, something beautiful happens. Let's talk about that next. 5. Layering. Not just style, but soft armor. Layering, to some, is just a matter of fashion, a way to mix textures, add dimension. But for many women over 60, it becomes something more, something tender. Like a soft shield we wear when the world feels too sharp. A light cardigan over a cotton blouse, a flowing scarf that falls gently over your heart, a shawl wrapped around your shoulders, not just for warmth, but for comfort. Like being held without needing to ask. It's not just about how it looks. It's about how it feels to be gently protected as you move through a world that sometimes forgets how sensitive we've become. My Aunt Carol used to say, "I don't wear layers to hide, I wear them to feel safe." She always had a denim jacket ready in the car, a wool wrap by the kitchen door. She said it gave her the courage to step outside, even on the days she didn't quite feel like herself. Because as we age, the world can feel a bit louder, a bit colder, and layering becomes a quiet way of saying, "I'm still here, but I'm softer now, and I choose to protect that softness." It's a form of care, of autonomy, of expression without having to raise your voice. We don't layer to cover who we are. We do it to carry ourselves more gently through the day. And as our layers soften on the outside, something inside grows even more natural. a quiet beauty that doesn't ask for approval, just presence. Let's explore that next. 6. Your hair is your crown, silver, not gray. There's a moment, sometimes quiet, sometimes reluctant, when a woman first notices silver strands weaving through her hair. For many, it feels like loss, like time arriving too fast, too boldly. But with time, that silver can become something sacred. It isn't gray, it's silver, a crown earned not by birthright, but by living, by showing up again and again through years of giving, forgiving, and becoming. I remember my neighbor Doris. She's 76 and wears her long silver braid down her back every Sunday at church. One day, a young woman asked her why she didn't dye it. Doris smiled and said, "Because I've waited too long to be this soft, this strong, and this visible." Her hair wasn't just hair. It was her story, every inch of it. And maybe that's the quiet truth so many women over 60 carry, the fear that silver means we've passed our peak, that people won't see us the same. But what if silver isn't an ending? What if it's a declaration? Because when we embrace our hair, in its natural hue, texture, and truth, we claim something no stylist can create: authenticity. We don't keep the silver to prove our age. We keep it to honor the light we've grown into. And once we carry that crown with grace, something beautiful happens. We begin to wear confidence, not just on our head, but across our whole presence. Let's step into that next. 7. Wear confidence like your favorite scarf. Confidence at this stage in life isn't loud. It doesn't walk into a room demanding attention. It enters gently, like a scarf draped just right, soft around your shoulders, warm at the heart. In your younger years, confidence might have looked like high heels or bright lipstick. Now, it's in how you carry your silence, how you choose stillness over needing to explain. It's the way you sip tea slowly, the way you wear navy slacks and a cotton blouse and still light up a room because you're comfortable in your own skin, and that radiates louder than any color. My friend Helen is 72. She's not what the world would call fashionable. She doesn't wear makeup. Her nails are bare. But when she walks through the park with her back straight, eyes kind, and that soft floral scarf tied loosely around her neck, she looks unmistakably whole, like a woman who no longer waits for approval. And that's what many women deep down still struggle with, the old voice that whispers, "I'm not enough anymore." We compare ourselves to younger bodies, faster lives, faces untouched by time. But confidence, real confidence, has wrinkles. It has stretch marks. It has stories. And just like your favorite scarf, it's something you grow into. It softens with time. It becomes yours not by accident, but by choosing it, again and again. We don't wear confidence to be noticed. We wear it so we no longer need to be. And when that quiet strength shines through, it gives shape to everything else. Even the simplest outfit becomes a reflection of ease. And that ease can still be beautiful, even as it chooses comfort first. Let's talk about that next. 8. The beauty of comfortable elegance. There's a certain kind of grace that only comes when you no longer feel the need to suffer for style. In our younger days, we wore stiff jackets, tight waistbands, heels that pinched, because somewhere deep down, we believed looking beautiful meant tolerating discomfort. But after 60, elegance begins to mean something different. It means kindness to yourself. A soft pair of trousers that lets you breathe. A blouse that moves with you instead of against you. Shoes that take you through the grocery store, the garden, or a stroll with your granddaughter without begging for relief at every step. My friend Marjorie, 70, always says, "If it hurts, it's not coming with me into this next season of life." She's found a quiet joy in dressing simply, linen pants, gentle knits, and one long necklace she wears almost daily. She looks beautiful. Not because she's trying, but because she's free. That freedom is what many women long for, the permission to choose comfort without feeling like they've given up, to feel lovely while also feeling at ease, To dress, not for the outside world, but for the life they want to move through without friction. We don't chase elegance anymore. We invite it to meet us where we are, soft, slow, and ready to exhale. And when we build our wardrobe with that kind of intention, certain pieces begin to stand out. Not just because they're pretty, but because they carry meaning. Let's talk about that next. 9. Signature pieces tell stories. Some clothes aren't just clothes, they're chapters. There's that wool coat you wore every Thanksgiving for 10 years, or the simple gold brooch passed down from your mother, still clipped gently to the lapel of your Sunday jacket. These aren't trends. They're threads of memory, quiet, enduring, and full of presence. We each have a signature piece, something that doesn't just go with everything, but goes with us. It grows softer with time, more familiar. It becomes a kind of second skin or second self. My friend Evelyn, 75, has a denim shirt she's worn since the 90s. She calls it her thinking shirt, wears it when she writes letters, tends the herbs in her backyard, or sips tea during long phone calls. When I asked why she still wears it so often, she said, "Because it knows me. It's seen me through." And somehow, you could feel that when she put it on, like her whole body remembered how to settle. Many women over 60 feel a pressure to reinvent themselves, to keep up, stay modern, be age-appropriate. But what if staying true to ourselves is the most beautiful form of evolution? What if the pieces that feel like home deserve to stay, simply because they hold something the mirror can't show? We don't keep pieces because they're stylish. We keep them because they've walked through life with us and still fit where it matters. And just like the pieces we choose to keep, the prints and patterns we wear can say more than words if we choose them with care. Let's explore that next.
Chapter 5 by Cesar Chantel 10.
Let prints speak gently. Prints are like voices. Some shout, some sing, and some, the ones we often grow into after 60, know how to whisper just enough to be remembered. As we get older, many women shy away from patterns. Too loud, too busy, too young. That's what we're told. But not all prints need to be bold to be beautiful. A quiet floral on a soft blouse, a hint of paisley on a scarf, a gentle stripe that says, "I'm here," without needing to prove it. I think of Clara, 69, who wears a pale green tunic with tiny cream blossoms every time she goes to the farmer's market. "It reminds me of my mother's garden," she told me, "and somehow wearing it makes me feel like she's still with me." That print isn't just decorative, it's connective, to memory, to mood, to meaning. What many women long for at this stage isn't flash, it's familiarity. Prints that reflect softness, stability, warmth, not the pressure to stand out, but the permission to stay rooted. Because after a certain age, we don't wear prints to impress. We wear them to express, quietly, thoughtfully, with heart. We don't choose patterns to be noticed. We choose them to remember what still brings us peace. And when we embrace that quiet expression, it opens the door to something else we often overlook: the space around us, the space we create not just in our closets, but in our homes and lives. Let's look at that next. 11. Your closet should feel like a hug. There comes a point in life when a closet is no longer a place to impress from. It becomes a place to return to, a place of comfort, memory, familiar breath. After 60, our relationship with what we wear changes. We no longer dress to be seen in crowds. We dress to feel at home in our skin. And our closet, that little room or corner or wardrobe, should feel like a gentle embrace every time we open it. It's not about having less or more. It's about standing in front of your clothes and thinking, "This still feels like me." A soft sweater that remembers last Christmas, the blouse you wore to your granddaughter's graduation, that faded cotton robe you still reach for on quiet mornings, because it knows the shape of your quiet joy. My friend Linda, 73, once told me she no longer organizes her closet by color or season. She organizes it by feeling. "These are my walk slowly clothes," she said, pointing to linen tunics and soft pants. And here's my visit the kids' corner, clothes that make me feel held. Her closet wasn't about fashion. It was about rhythm, about rituals, about honoring the pace of her life now. And perhaps that's what so many women quietly long for. Not a closet that impresses guests, but one that welcomes you. A space that understands you've lived many lives and still deserves softness, ease, and memory. We don't curate our closet for the world. We curate it for the woman we wake up to and want to take care of. And when we dress from that place of care, even the simplest outfits feel like celebration. And from there, we remember that style isn't just about clothes. It's about how we carry our evolution. Let's close this journey with that final gentle thought. 12. Style is the art of still becoming. There's a quiet beauty in realizing that even now, even at 60, 70, or 80, you are still becoming. Style, in this season of life, is no longer about reinvention. It's about unfolding, about honoring the layers you've already lived while leaving space for who you're still becoming. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Sometimes it's as simple as trying on a wide-brimmed hat for the first time, choosing a new shade of lipstick that feels bold but kind, or buying a pair of shoes that make you want to walk just a little farther than yesterday. I remember Delia, 78, who started wearing silk headscarves after her husband passed, not to cover anything, but to remind herself she could still try something new. "I don't want to stop being curious," she said. "Style is how I keep meeting myself." And maybe that's what many women quietly long for. Not youth, not attention, but permission. Permission to keep discovering, to keep expressing, to keep changing, gently. We don't dress to reclaim who we were. We dress to reflect who we're still becoming. And with that thought, soft, true, and full of grace, let's take a breath and gently return to all we've uncovered today. So today, we walked through 12 gentle shifts, not just in how we dress, but in how we see ourselves. From the softness of fabric to the whisper of color, from the layers we choose to the silver we now wear with pride. Each piece wasn't about looking younger. It was about remembering the quiet power of still becoming. And maybe, just maybe, style at this age isn't about being noticed. It's about being known by yourself. If there's one thing I hope you carry with you, it's this. You don't have to change everything. Just start small. Try one scarf that makes you smile, one soft blouse that lets you move with grace, one memory-filled piece you decide to wear again, just because it still feels like you. We don't dress to return to who we were. We dress to meet who we've grown into, with love. And if this spoke to something quiet inside you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend who might need it more than you know. And if you'd like more stories like this, ones that speak to the heart, not just the mirror, subscribe and walk this gentle road with us.